In this video, I want to do an update to my post about Elizabeth Short and the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald, and how bizarrely they are connected. And that is because the world is a stage and it's being scripted through this esoteric practice of Gematria in numerology. And I wanted to expand on a few points and some observations that I made. And yesterday I had just made the connection between 75, and that's what immediately jumped out at me is when I noticed that the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald happened in 75, and I knew that was significant because Elizabeth Short equals 75 as well as the Catholic Church. And shout out to Numeric World Order, who originally made the observation of the Edmund Fitzgerald and Ed Edwards, who is infamously known as one of the better well-known suspects behind the murder of Elizabeth Short, because of a note that was found on Pi Day, March 14th, 1947, and it has been linked to Ed Edwards, and the note is basically a confession note to the killing of Elizabeth Short. So this is just an update. If you haven't checked out my original video on it, I'll link it below. But that's no coincidence. The Edmund, Edwards, Ed Edwards, Ed Burns. And then here you have this ship, and ships in water are symbolic of feminine energy. And the Edmund Fitzgerald was found split into two pieces, just like Elizabeth Short. And uncoincidentally, this all takes place in 1975, just like Rec equals 75, just like Elizabeth Short. And the Edmund Fitzgerald sank in Lake Superior, which is the biggest lake in the lake system that is known as the Great Lakes. And this location was chosen because of this 75 connection. And it all kind of seems like a ritual in honor of the divine feminine or something. That's a theory I need to expand on, but that's kind of where the numbers are pointing me. And look at the gematria of feminine. Feminine equals 75. And consider, like I said, ships are considered female, and they're referred to as she. And it says here, although it may sound strange to refer to an inanimate object as she, it's traditional, and it relates to the idea of the female figure, such as a mother or a goddess, guiding and protecting a ship and crew. So, a concept that is based in ancient knowledge, esoteric knowledge that has been mostly hidden from us, and that is being able to interact with higher powers through the use, which is what mysticism is based on, and Gematria is based out of Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism. Able to, in a way, I guess, pay tribute or basically interact with the divine, you could say, through numbers. And the way to do it is through numbers, because numbers are the fabric of the universe. Numbers are everything. So you have this very obvious feminine, divine feminine ritual going on here. And think about how Elizabeth Short was found cut into pieces. So she was one and then became two. And this whole concept of, duality is very sacred to the occult, and rightfully so, because everything has a polar opposite. Everything is about duality. And think about birth, how you have one person, and then a mother gives birth to a child, and now you have two. So from this duality, you have to have springs one. It's a concept important in sacred geometry. And they're paying tribute to that concept through the murder of Elizabeth Short and the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Both cut into two pieces, were one, but then became two. You see? So fascinating stuff to me. But yeah, this is an update. Best Short equals 115, just like her date of death, January 15th. And the numerology of the sinking or the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald happened on a date with 115 numerology. 11 plus 10 plus 19 plus 75 equals 115. And both the Black Dahlia and Edmund Fitzgerald equal 83. Sinking equals 83. And I've already been all over this. This is another update that I want to include in there because I think it's significant when you take into account the fact that Elizabeth Short is born on the 29th. Black equals 29. And Edmund equals 29. Ed Burns, the nickname for Ed Edwards, who claims responsibility for the Black Dahlia murder, they all have this 29 connection. And that's special to this practice because 29 is a prime number. And prime numbers are very special to this practice because they're powerful, because they could only be divided by one in themselves. So 29 is a prime number, and it's the 10th prime number. And they say 29 crew members perished on that day. And in light of 29 being the 10th prime number, think about how this all took place on the 10th day of the 11th month. And I meant to expand on this, but black is significant because Elizabeth Short is associated with wearing black quite often, and it's the root of, or it's the story, how they say they came up with her, the nickname the Black Dahlia, because she wore black a lot. And there was a murder mystery movie that came out on April 19th, 1946, 38 weeks before the ritual of Elizabeth Short. And that film was The Blue Dahlia. So the black and the blue. But black is significant because it's the color of Saturn worship. And Saturn equals 69, just like Elizabeth Short equals 69. So now getting back to the significance of 29 in the prime number relationship, and this all taking place on the 10th day of the 11th month. But 10 is special to, this like spirituality, this higher power, and going back to duality of good and evil. And you see how in the numerology cipher, Satan equals 10 forwards, and then backwards in that same cipher. So if you were to flip it around and make A have a value of 8, God equals 10. So the polar opposite of Satan, which is associated with evil, you get this duality thing going on. And think about how the numerology of 10 is 1. In order to get 2, you need 1. So the occult is obsessed with this kind of sacred geometry symbolism. So the numerology of November 10th, 1975, if you reduce it, if you don't include the century, and you reduce everything down from a single digit, so 1 plus 1 plus 10 plus 7 plus 5 equals 15. Remember, Elizabeth Short, her body was found on the 15th day in the beginning of 1947, and 47 is the 15th prime number. When you write out 15 as a word, it equals 38, just like sinking, just like killing, and just like Gematria, which these rituals are based on. And that leads me into my next point perfectly, because from the launch date, June 7th, 1957, to what would have been Elizabeth Short's 33rd birthday, and think about Ed Edwards, the person who took blame for the Elizabeth Short murder. They say he was born in the year 1933. He actually has 2 birthdays, and I think one of them, it's really hard to say, but one of them seems like his ritual birthday, like they wanted to give him a new birthday so it syncs up better with this ritual. And there definitely is a whole moon thing going on, and the moon is female energy. And the reason why I say that he was given this ritual birthday is because it would have put his age at the age of 13 when he would have committed this crime. And 13 is symbolic of the moon. So, fitting, this all comes on the eve of what would have been her 33rd birthday, considering how special that number is to the occult. So it was a span of 52 days, and that number is important to this whole practice of Gematria. So 52 days from the launching, and I want you guys to keep something in mind, is the fact that it was Elizabeth Fitzgerald who broke the ceremonial champagne on the bow on this date, June 7th, 1957. So, perfect person to have been chosen to, in the ceremonial, in the launch of the Edmund Fitzgerald. And you see how it all ties into the Elizabeth Short killing. So 52 days to her upcoming 33rd birthday. The Black Dahlia equals 52. Special number to Kabbalah, because Kabbalah equals 52, just like Gematria. And the visual model for Kabbalah, which is known as the Tree of Life. And just look at the value of ship. Ship also equals 52. So perfect day for the launch of the ship, and a perfect person to break the ceremonial champagne bottle across the bow. So getting back to the connection to the moon, and in how this is all in tribute to the, the sacred feminine energy, what have you. The day the ship sank, November 10th, 1975, that would have been, Elizabeth Short would have been 51 years old. So this happens 104 days after what would have been her 51 years of being alive. And that's significant because the sinking took place on the day that left 51 days in the year. And this all connects back to the moon, because moon equals 51 and 15. And, 15 equals 38, just like sinking, just like killing. And Elizabeth was killed on the 15th day of 1947. So you got this whole moon thing going on. Not to mention, November 10th was Monday, a day that's named after the moon. And the moon represents female energy. Where was I? So, and adding another 52, if you take the year and reduce it down to a single digit, but the month and the day aren't reduced down to a single digit. So 7 plus 29 plus 1 plus 9 plus 2 plus 4 equals 52. Just like the Black Dahlia equals 52. Kabbalah, Gematria, Tree of Life, all special numbers to that practice. And another point I wanted to make, so you see the moon connection. This all happens on what would have been her 51. She would have been 51 years old at this time. November 10th, the day that leaves 51 days left in the year. Moon equals 51. And was there something with Monday? So I want you guys to see this because it relates back to the supposed suicide of Donald Tober, who jumped from his 11th story floor apartment, his Park Avenue luxury apartment, exactly 74 years after the discovery of Elizabeth Short on January 15th, 1947. So he jumped to his death January 15th, 2021. Okay, and I'll show you the span of time, and this relates back to the launch. Happened in 57, and think about how moon, I believe, equals 57. You see, moon equals 57. The launch took place in 1957. So the launch takes place 313 days of, if Elizabeth would have been alive, it would be her 313th day of being 32. And why that is significant to me is because Donald Tober, who committed suicide exactly 74 years after Elizabeth Short, he died on his 313th day of being 89. And 313 is the 65th prime number. And why that's significant, you might ask, is because when you write out 15 as a word, it equals 65. Just like how they're both dead on the 15th day of the year. And look at the gematria of Donald Tober, who committed suicide. Donald Tober equals 47. Just like suicide, 47 is the 15th prime number. They say he jumped from his 11-story apartment. Jump equals 15. And remember, Elizabeth Short's story takes place in 1947. Elizabeth equals 47. Liz equals 47. Fitz, the nickname for the Edmund Fitzgerald, equals 47. So this gentleman's supposed suicide, a definite, clear tribute to this whole practice, this practice of gematria, ritualistically assigning numbers to letters, words, and phrases. And look at his birthday, 3/8 or 8/3, a special number to the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Edmund Fitzgerald equals 83, just like the Black Dahlia equals 83. But I don't think there's any connection to his suicide other than the fact that it was ritualistically planned out, but probably no connection to the sinking, but definite clear tribute to this practice of gematria. And what are the odds? You have to ask yourself, what are the odds that he jumps to his death exactly 74 years after Elizabeth Short's body is found, and Donald Tober equals 47, Elizabeth equals 47. He committed suicide. Suicide equals 47. And think about the Ed Burns suicide note that was found on Pi Day 1947. So you see how it's all interconnected. So yeah, I just wanted to get that update out there. And I'm not sure if I expanded on... Oh, another point, and I don't want to get it too convoluted here, but I think it's an observation worth making because there are very few coincidences in this practice. But if you look at January 15th, it's the day that leaves 350 days left in the year. So 350. And look at the numerology of the launching of the Edmund Fitzgerald. It has numerology of 35. If you reduce everything down from a single digit. And that's significant because Dahlia has Gematria of 35. Just like how she's dubbed the Blue Dahlia. She's dubbed the Black Dahlia. And then you get the Blue Dahlia that came out a year before her murder, and that movie is attributed to the coining of the Black Dahlia. So Dahlia has this gematria of 35. Just like Satan equals 35. And January 15th, 1947 was the day that leaves 350 days left in the year, or 350. And in this practice, the zeros don't have any power. So what that number really represents is 35. So you have this whole 35 connection going on. And that's significant because you got the Blue Dahlia and you got the Black Dahlia. So symbolic of this 35 number. And yeah, what is her some numerology of her birthday again? Oh, you know what's crazy, you guys? Is you see how she died 170 days after her 22nd birthday. Sacrifice equals 170. You see? And you see how her birth numerology has 79. 7 plus 29 plus 19 plus 24 equals 79. 79 is the 22nd prime number, like how she died at 22, but Edmund Fitzgerald equals 79. You see how perfectly it synced up, the two events? So yeah, just wanted to put that update out there. And I think I'm going to end it right there. So peace.